We will work hard to set a positive example for the future generations of Canadians. We will not lower ourselves to their level. What happened here in February, the veterans here felt the jackboots of the police.
They influence through fear. That is what they do.
It's you tomorrow, it's me the next day. They're going to smear us. They have already started. What the federal government doesn't know, they poke the bear.
Yeah.
The lowering of standards for Canada's fighting forces is well underway. In the words of retired Navy SEAL Andy Stumpf, when asked about diversity in the SEALs, he responded, "Well, I don't know. Are we aiming for diversity, or are we aiming to achieve a standard, and that standard is dictated to us by what we are encountering on the battlefield, and the battlefield doesn't give a shit about diversity." In 2012, the fitness standards dropped when the CAF moved away from the express test to the force test, due to high failure rates. Many people believe the current force testing is a physical evaluation. But in reality, it is the minimum physical employment standards related to defense military duties, or also known as universality of service. This does not assist in creating a fit military. CAF members are often looked to as ambassadors to Canada when they're operating overseas. How do we want our country to be represented when our military is abroad? A sharp-looking uniform is an indication of self-respect, pride, readiness, and positive attitude. The Canadian Army embraces these qualities and is determined to strengthen them with our members. Be a proud soldier. Be proud to represent the Army, the Canadian Armed Forces, and mostly, your country, Canada. In addition, the forces have dropped the Canadian Forces Aptitude Test, which tests mathematics, English, and spatial awareness for 47 of the 100-plus trades. Documents were leaked to Veterans for Freedom and then confirmed by the Canadian Armed Forces social media with this post about the Fast Pass. Communication is critical for military training and operations. Will our military be effective when candidates aren't being tested on their English-speaking ability? Or is this a recipe for disaster? Why is this happening? One theory is that they want to fast-track the entry of the over 26,000 permanent residents that have applied for military employment. A comment from a member of the Canadian Forces Recruiting Group said this has been most likely implemented to accommodate the 26,000 permanent residents who have applied, who are mostly East Indian, who use broken English, and clearly use Google Translate to send emails. I believe this is done with purpose to bring in non-Canadians, or a non-Canadian military to use against Canadians when the time is right.
Good afternoon. It's Andrew from Vets for Freedom, or Drew as I go by, here on the 11th of February 2024, to educate and empower you as to what's lying ahead and what you can do. So you saw the third video of our betrayal series. I think we have 12 planned, and that just released this morning. It's doing fairly well in terms, just like our other videos. I think, you know, each video got 70 to 100,000 views. And we'll keep putting those out every Sunday morning. Shout out to our friend Dwayne at Contrarian Tribe, who helps us make those videos. So it's funny, some of the responses I saw on the video on Twitter when it launched is like, well, why are you guys targeting East Indians? East Indians are patriotic people. And we're not targeting East Indians. We're just saying that's who the permanent, most of the permanent residents are who applied, who have trouble with, according to the guy at CFRG, they have trouble speaking English and sending emails and that sort of thing. So if it was mostly Chinese people, or mostly, you know, what from whatever nationality, that's what we would just say. So it's nothing against people, but permanent residents and people who aren't getting tested to join the Canadian Forces shouldn't join, especially when the most critical thing to military operations is communication. So you have to have a common language to be able to communicate. And that's why a lot of French units only have, French speaking people like the Vendus or HMCS Seville de Quebec. You have to be French speaking to be posted those units. Okay, so some people said we're not getting to Rumble. It should be. Let me just double check. Let's see the live. That's weird. So let me just try and fix this quickly. See if we can get on to Rumble. And then, yeah, it says it's on Rumble. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so it says farming special, weekly sit rep Rumble. Let me just give one more try here. And yeah, slot 131 on Rumble. So if it's on a Rumble, sorry, switch over to YouTube or wherever, and we'll see if we can get that fixed and get the file uploaded. So one other thing I just want to comment on, I believe I commented on this last week, but the reason that V4F doesn't get involved or comment on identity politics or anything like that is because the organization doesn't look through the identitarian lens. We don't look at whether people's mutable characteristics, what their skin color is, or what between their legs, or what their religion is, or what their sexuality is. Like none of that stuff, because what brings our group together is the fact that we're all veterans. That's it. And we're concerned about the direction our country's heading. So we don't care if people are like vaccinated, unvaccinated, like none of that. Doesn't matter. And if people have, even if our members or supporters have a problem with that, then I don't know what to tell you, because that's, I can tell you that we have Black members, Korean members, Asian members, Indigenous members, and all that sort of thing. So we just don't play the identity politics game. It's a losing strategy in my personal opinion. So we aren't going to comment on that stuff, and we aren't going to discriminate against people who try to join the organization. So this is going to be special on farmers. So I'm not going to, probably won't go as long as usual ones are, but I'm going to give you guys, some things that you can do in terms of how to support your local farmers and why that is important. So I'll just give a quick couple stories. So one, I used to live, I was posted to CFB Esquimalt in Victoria on Vancouver Island for 10 years, which is like the home of farmers markets. And I remember talking to one local farmer who was at a market, and he was selling a bunch of kale for $3. And I said, "Oh, that's cheaper than the store." And he said, "Well," he goes, the store will buy it from me for $2 and then turn around and sell it to you for $4. And he said, "But I can come to the farmer's market, sell it to you directly for $3. So I make an extra $1 and you save $1. So it's a lot better to cut out the middleman, so at the grocery stores, and go direct to the farmers, because often it's cheaper and they make more money." The other good thing about going to farmers market and deal with farmers directly is they deal with mostly cash. So if you're tracking the IBDCs or ICDCs, whatever it's called, where they want to eliminate cash, that's to keep using cash and supporting farmers at these markets and that sort of thing. They love dealing in cash. And I've said this a couple of times. We are in a war for our way of life. Against the elites, against them cracking down on us and controlling us. And logistics is a important aspect of warfare. Okay, and this is why we've been focusing on food security for the year and a half. Because if you can't feed yourself, you can't fight, and you got to be less reliant on like large corporate grocery stores and rely more on your local community for the food aspect. So the logistics side of it is very important, and you have to be able to feed yourself, shelter yourself, and give yourself water. Now, when it comes to farming, what you want to do is you want to find local farmers, right? So we have vets all across the country, and there's regions and that sort of thing. But what we're telling people is to start groups locally. Okay, so find your local farmers. There was a video that was sent to me, can't find it because I get so many messages and phone calls and that sort of thing. It basically showed this, like, I want to say it was an Amish farm, but I might be wrong. But basically, it was a farm store on the actual farm. So you could walk in, they had milk there, they had a bakery in the back, they were making food, they had eggs, they had apples, they had everything right there. And it was all from, local farmers in that area. So that's a great sort of concept and idea, and something that me and my group up in Haliburton County is working towards. So we've got some local businesses who are on board, who are helping out, and eventually when more of us are producing food, we have this great local shop that has a great local commercial location, and we're hoping to set up like a daily market there where farmers and people who produce their goods can come and sell. But anyways, just some ideas. And okay, so I'm going to get into a couple things here. Sorry, I forgot to do my carnivore diet update, so that one will be real quick. Let's see here, window. All right, so just a quick update on that. Now we have a couple other guys who are starting the carnivore diet or have started. So again, my starting weight was 272.2, and now I'm to 237. So since the last update, I lost 3.2 pounds. And it's probably less because I did have my monthly cheat meal, which is February. What did I have? I had some chips and stuff like that. And so that probably limited me a bit. But then what I did, what I did was I didn't feel good. So I fasted. I just finished a 72-hour fast. And so my goal is by the time we get to CPAC in the end of February is to get into the 220. So still working out, haven't changed much in the diet. Still have a lot of meat and everything from Wild Meadows Farm, who are great. You can check them out in the ticker. Yeah, I know some people have ordered from them using the code. So support them. They're a local farm in Ontario. They ship all over Ontario. They're awake and they're good people. So that's the quick update on carnivore. Now, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up just a couple of websites that I use for reference. And I won't talk too much about the fob farm concept, which we have here. That's something I'll save for another show, but that's pretty much just cooperative farming. But I am doing a stream in early March, which is like the ultimate homesteading stream. And I'm going to talk about like everything that we've considered on our farm here, which is on 37.5 acres in Haliburton County. All right, so next window here is this. All right, so when I first started looking into farming and trying to start my own farm, there was this great website out there called FarmLink. And I don't know if they're down in the United States, but they are Canadian. They're definitely up in Canada. And it's basically, they're linking people who are looking to get into farming, or people who are selling their farm, or looking for farm workers and that sort of thing. So I probably talked to about 10 or 15 different farmers in Ontario, and their stories, they went from, that their kids didn't want to take over their farm and they were looking for someone to do it and then pay off. There was other ones who just needed farm hands. Other people wanted sort of communal living. Other people wanted to sell their farms outright, and they're trying to find people to buy them. So farmlink.net. And again, I'll put all the links in the show, from the show on social media after, so you can click them. But this is a great website. Last I talked to them, they were looking for funding, and that was a couple of years ago. And it looks like that's what they have got some funding to keep the website going. So you can look at farm opportunities. So I just cut out there. Usually brings up the provinces, so you can do by provinces and what it is, and what sort of practices and everything. So if you are looking Ontario. So anyways, I think that's what's cutting me out is the website's pretty it's pretty resource intensive. So I'll move off that. So that's FarmLink. Now this is a tweet that was done this morning. So it was done by this recovering woke guy named Scott Adams, who I guess is some sort of illustrator or author. Sorry, website. So just give me a sec here. I think it was the Farm Link website. Anyways, okay, so here's Scott Adams, and he says, "I stopped eating wheat, sweets, processed foods several months ago without dieting whatsoever. My body ended up looking like these guys, but more muscle. Sorry, I keep cutting out for some reason. But what he says is, I eat as much as I want all day long, and my weight decreased to my ideal target. I just sorry guys, it's just all right, so maybe it was just the video there. So anyways, and the inflammation that was crippling me disappeared, and it's all in the food. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm out in the bush, so using not the best internet. So anyways, that's a good one by Scott Adams, a guy sort of waking up and coming around as to what's happening. So that was the first tweet. Second one I want to put out there is our friend of the organization, Curtis Stone. He just did a good tweet, how to start a farm on fire. Yeah, sorry, it's all these ads and these videos that are playing from these tweets that is screwing it up. So I'll just try and pause them as I go. Yeah, so watch this video. We retweeted it. Curtis is an awake guy. I used to follow him years ago when he was called the Urban Farmer. But he's definitely on our side and gives you all the tips and tricks on all of his videos and YouTube videos and posts and everything about how to do this. So definitely look into Curtis. He's awesome, and it's actually him who gave us the idea to start the whole fob farm concept, which is just cooperative farms. So check him out. He's on Twitter. And this is something that's been going on. So as people have seen, the farmers out in the UK, or said UK, in Europe, have been pushing back against the EU about them sort of destroying their careers and their families. And again, I said this multiple times, is they're using food as a weapon. We need to take that weapon out of their hands and put it into our hands so they can't use it against us. And that's literally why we've been pushing food security since November of 2022. And what I do, like at nighttime when I turn all this stuff off, turn my phone off, all I do is watch YouTube videos, how-to videos, what I can do, farming techniques, stuff we can buy, DIY stuff, and it's all focused on sustainability and farming and that sort of thing. So I'm just increasing my knowledge base, or I read books and how to do that and really focus on the farm so that we can this whole farm can be managed within the property, and they can't use that food weapon against us. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so a couple of great YouTube channels. All right, so I highly recommend this guy. His name's the YouTube channel is called Arcopia. And again, I'll post all these links in a response to the show. Excuse me, but this guy's great. He has this awesome greenhouse that he has in like northern Saskatchewan, and it he talks about freeze drying and that sort of thing. But he's of the same mind as us. He's awake. He has his properties, living off the land. And he's got tons of great instructional videos of how to build and tips. And one of his best videos is how to deal with pests. So we're in the middle of the bush here, pretty much based on the stuff that he's told us, and we do a little bit of spraying. Is we have no mosquitoes, no house flies, no horse flies, no deer flies, nothing. And we're in the middle of the bush. So our whole open area of about 3 acres here, we get no pests because that affects our morale, being and working out on the fields and buildings and that sort of thing. So that's one of his best videos. I'll talk about that at for the Ultimate Homesteading stream that we're going to be doing in early March. But check out our copia. Again, Curtis Stone, check out his YouTube video. He's got, almost 600,000 subscribers, tons of videos. He's got fromthefield.tv. I think we might have a discount code for that. I can't remember, but I can double check with him. But he's another guy who's amazing. And then the Market Gardener Institute, which is a guy named John, I think 410. And that's the second guy we use to plan out our farm. He has a book, which I'll speak about later, called The Market Gardener, which is like from start to finish of how to set up your own farm or do community farming. Another great guy. This guy's just north of me. I was following him back when he was just probably 100,000 viewers. Now he's into the millions. So Sean James, great guy. He lives just north of me in and around Huntsville. He's got a great show. He has 2 channels. There's this one and the other has another one called Sean James. But great guy, awake, and he's just building a cabin in the bush, and he has bush gardens and all sorts of things. So recommend checking him out. All right, so I'm going to stop. We'll talk about the book a little bit later on. I'm just going to touch on a couple points. So what you want to do, so these are actual hands-on things that you can do, is find local farmers in your community. So we've had some local farmers here, and we've had some of our people in our homesteading group reach out to them, and they are like dying to sell directly to the customers. Like I said, they deal with cash, and there's one guy who comes up. I think he comes out in our area like once a week and does a bunch of drop-offs, whether it's beef bones or meat or whatever. But that's what you need to do. You need to engage with your local farmers, find them, see if they're interested in setting up like a farming network, and then get customers on board. And then the big thing here is you eliminate the middleman. That is who you're eliminating. So all the stuff like grocery stores, which are gouging, or they're, they were just talking about this in Australia, where the grocery stores are making record profits, but then they're collectively driving the price down for farmers. And then if there's any sort of blemish on the fruit and vegetables, or anyway, farmers are throwing away a ton of produce and fruits that can be consumed. So, if you bought locally, you can just say, okay, well, these apples, they have some dents in them or whatever, but you can still use them. But supermarkets actually take them and push them, say we're not going to buy from them. So there's all sorts of stuff going on. The farmers are being sort of pinned to the ground, and a lot of them don't have these large margins. And when the carbon tax hits, if it hasn't hit already, it's going to be huge for them, because they're just going to take that cost and they have to transfer it directly onto the consumer. And I remember a story when I was a little kid. I was working at a pick your own berry farm. When you're younger, 15, 16, you're getting paid $8 an hour, back when minimum wage was $6.45 and there was no tax on anything. And I remember the farmer there telling me that, he was like, wow, our farm made $1.1 million this year. And I was like, oh my God, you guys, that's awesome. They're so rich. He goes, yeah, but our expenses were like 1,000 or 1 million, $1.05 dollars. Sorry, I'm getting all screwed up here on my numbers. So they had only made profit 50,000. And this guy worked 365 days a year. So he made a lot of money, but they had a lot of expenses. So if we can work collectively across the country to link up with these farmers, we can buy from them direct, and it'll actually be better. So just something to keep in mind, that something that you can do is find your local farmers and start buying directly from them, or finding a couple of your neighbors and buying a whole cow from a farmer. It would be so much cheaper. It's going to be like $6-7 a pound compared to what you're getting in the grocery store. And they usually pack it and seal it and put it away. So that's something that you can do. And we'll talk about the points here later on. So just go back quickly. So if you want to support our organization, okay, you can just buy merchandise from us. Okay, some people donate directly. That's fine. I went over what our monthly expenses were a little while ago. Those are usually taken care of. But what we do with the money that we raise, none of us get paid or salaries or anything like that. But what we give a lot of money away, right, to different initiatives or people who need help. And if you followed the last show, I think we said we're at $219,000. So you don't have to donate to us direct. That's fine, But we give that money into sort of good initiatives. So if you want to support us, you can buy our merch, or you can tell other sort of awake, non-woke veterans about our organization, and they can join. If you do want to join, just go to v4f.ca, click join. It's an encrypted members site, and then we should get back. I know there's probably been 100 people who have joined in the past couple months, so we got a lot of work to do to get them all on board. So I'm just going to share my screen again quickly. All right, so this is the book I recommend if you are looking to get into farming, doing it yourself. It's called The Market Gardener. I think I bought this back in 2014 or 2015. This guy gives you start to finish how to pick your land and basically what this guy and his family does. So they're in Quebec, and on their 2-acre farm, they feed, I think, 400 people in their community based on the techniques they use. And he's the guy who runs the Market Gardening Institute. So check out 410. He's amazing. And he's got a great YouTube channel. But this book is like the Bible. I should have grabbed my copy of it, and I could show you how beat up the book is, about how many times we've read through it to help plan out our farm here. So check that out if you can. If you want to buy it, look at the ratings there. For 2,174 ratings, 4.8. So highly recommend that book. That's the Bible that we use here on our farm. So let's go quickly to what do we have next? All right, so our veteran account of the week is our friend Tom Quiggin. So check him out. I talk to Tom almost every single day. Very smart man, advisor, and you can see his book there, Eyewitness to the Sea. I think I got into the top 30 on Amazon sales. Another book that I have that I recommend check out. He's amazing, very smart guy, very much on our side. Has a decent Twitter following at just over 40,000 followers, but he's great. So check out Tom Quiggin. Tom Quiggin is a good man and has done a lot for the resistance movement, and he continues to fight. And even though he's an older fella, he's as sharp as can be. So check out Tom Quiggin. Tom Quiggin's Twitter. And so our Twitter account of the week, so it doesn't load, but check out Curtis Stone. He only got on Twitter a couple months ago. I think he only had 1,000 followers, but he's really growing. We share a lot of his tweets. Again, give him a follow. We did a post about his farm this morning, and he's great. So that is Quiggin. I think that might be the end of the tweets. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to just show, I'm not going to do a Bolshevik of the week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some guy who all he does is run. See, Kaboobel. Yeah, Forte is amazing. That's what he does. He just focuses on food. He's awesome. Like, highly recommend you check him out. But I'm just going to share a picture of a guy. And so this guy, all this guy does is run his mouth about our organization, makes up a bunch of lies. So just for our members, just to be aware, and whoever our partners are, right? So this is from his Facebook. His name is Dominic Sinelli. Okay, and I guess he's had some negative interactions with some of our people. He's a Marcus Ray and Christopher James acolyte, and because we sort of foiled their dumbass constitutional sheriff plans a couple of years ago, where they were trying to get armed constitutional sheriffs and get a bunch of people martyred and killed. He has a bone to pick with our organization, because he just makes up all this stuff. Oh yeah, they're controlled opposition, this, that, and then it just makes our way back to us and by people, through our networks. And but this clown, all he does is run his mouth. I've never talked to him personally, but he's just a piece of riffraff. And unfortunately, that's the term I'm using to identify, the people in the freedom movement who are just bad people and just run their mouths. So this guy's like the ultimate riffraff. And so if you hear anything about V4F from Dominic Sinelli, it's most likely incorrect, and he just has a bone to pick with us. So just want to throw that out there. He's on Facebook, but the guy can't shut his mouth. So hopefully some of us can meet him. But anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. So if you hear anything from this clown, just ignore any, we're controlled opposition. Yeah, that's we get that all the time. We've got that since the organization was stood up. And it's like, prove it. None of these people can prove anything. So all we've been doing is good stuff, raising money, helping people network, getting their story out. We're going to hear about the Kayla Pollock story. That's going to be huge. It's going to be international news through our friend John Nisbet at the Canadian Independent. That should come out in a little while. But that's going to be huge. And that was our story that we got linked up to do that. So the ballots will be going out for 4 days for the support fund. One of the people on the ballot is to help get Kayla's story out. So John, they spent a lot of money to get her story out. If we can help and buy them some ad space and that sort of thing, like I said, it's going to be international news. But there's 3 ballots: Chris Lysak, her, and I think Lisa Robinson's the third. Now, with the support fund, just so you know, after a year of that support fund, we will most likely be shutting it down and encouraging all of our members or all of our donors to get behind the accountability project. We'll have some more information on that next week. But we really want to build this fund to help protect future Canadians. So I've penned a letter, and we're going to put that out to all the social media influencers, our friends, our partners, and that sort of thing, to try and get as many Canadians behind the accountability project as possible. So a couple of things I talked about last week were the 3 points was burnout. I talked about the so what effect. So you have to ask yourself when you're reading something or someone tells you something, like, so what? How's that going to affect me? So you need to focus on that, and if it's not going to affect you personally or your circle of control or your circle of influence, then maybe don't factor that in, because I know so many people just go on Telegram all day and read like a billion things and share them, and they're actually not doing anything in their lives. And the last thing is knowledge is power. So read, start to learn skills, and arm yourself with the truth, arm yourself with skills, and that's how we can defeat the globalists. So for this week, one of the things I'm going to point out is seek local farmers. Okay, so we need to support our local farmers. They're coming for them with the carbon tax and the increased food pricing and that sort of thing. So we need to support them locally. So you can just go out, you can find the local farms in your area, talk to them, and see if there's the option to purchase from them direct and support the local farmers. Second thing is start to investigate and look into CSA. So CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. So my local town of Minden, what they have is, we just drove by like the park, or I drove by the park a little while ago, and sure enough, what do they have? They have community supported agriculture, like raised garden beds. So people from the community can grow some of their food. So they've allocated some of the township's land for people to do their own gardens. Okay, and that can happen anywhere. It can happen on other people's property. There's all sorts of, especially when I was in Victoria, there's all sorts of community supported agriculture where you can sign up for weekly food boxes and they deliver it to you at a lesser cost. So there's all sorts of things. So start looking into CSA in your area. And the last thing is set up local farm networks. So if I was approached by some of our guys out on Vancouver Island, and I guess they had been dealing with some farmers out there who were having issues because the township was restricting their water and they're losing crops and that sort of thing. But if you can build a farmers network, like on Telegram or Signal or any of the, Facebook or that sort of thing, where farmers can communicate directly with their consumers, but also, some of these farmers need help. right? It's hard to get farm hands to go over and help them. And that's something where you could barter and trade and say, look, we'll come over and do a bunch of stuff for you if we can barter and get some food in return. So that's the third point is build that strong farm network within your community and tie it in regionally. There's no point in you linking up with the farmers like 6 hours away, right? Because it's not economically, you shouldn't. They're going to add a lot of fuel costs and that sort of thing. So just try to tie it in local regions and that sort of thing. So those are the 3 points for this week. So this show will be on hiatus for 2 weeks because we're going to be going down to an event in Cambridge. It should be 20-25 of our guys there. They might be sold out of tickets by then, but we're going down to support some of the truckers and their legal bills. We'll have a bunch of V4F merch down there, and the profits of that will go in to support these guys. So we'll be in Cambridge. Some of us will be in Hamilton for the hockey game on the Saturday, and they'll be at the concert on Saturday evening. We'll have a big V4F breakfast the following morning, and then myself and the two other members of the board of directors of V4F will be going up to visit with that young lady, Kayla, who got injured by the shot. And then the following week, I'll be with Famous Eddie down at CPAC in Washington, D.C. The Maple MAGA crew is going down. We're going to be meeting a bunch of people there. We're going to be meeting a lot of our American veteran partners down there, Vets for Freedom in the U.S., Veterans for America First, and some of the other guys. So it's going to be busy for us. And then I'll be back, and then the next show will be on the 3rd of March. So I'll have a lot to report on. But again, if anyone wants any questions about farmers or anything like that, I have my email on the ticker. Shoot me an email. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. But we really need to support those local farmers because again, they're using food as a weapon. So anyways, just that's it. The show is a little bit short. I don't think there was any questions unless Rob saw any. Yeah. So the Maple MAGA, it was done by Dean Blundell, and it was funny. I was like, that's pretty clever. Not that like our organization isn't the Make America or not Maple MAGA. Maybe some of our members are. They probably are. But I was like, oh, that's funny. That's clever. That's like the one clever thing that the woke tards have come up with. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll just embrace it. So we're going to get a bunch of hats done up and take them down there and give them to some of the people that we're meeting. And we'll take some pictures, and it's all just going to be to trigger these lefties. So it'll be pretty funny to do that. So anyways, so that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I know it's not sort of the usual show, but we really wanted to focus on the farming aspect and how important it is for the farmers. So you can reach out to me, share the stream or anything like that on your socials. We're trying to build up our social network, and we'll go from there. So thank you again for joining me, and we are at SITREP. Thanks again.
We will work hard to set a positive example for the future generations of Canadians. We will not lower ourselves to their level. What happened here in February, the veterans here felt the jackboots of the police.
They influence through fear. That is what they do.
It's you tomorrow. It's me the next day. They're going to smear us. They have already started. What the federal government doesn't know, they poke the bear.
Yeah.